Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a much requested and long overdue guide for how to install and set up Fallout 3 to properly run on modern computers. This video will cover absolutely everything you need to ensure a fully functioning and minimally crashing gameplay experience. In a similar style to the guide that I created for Fallout New Vegas, I will very carefully walk through each step so that you can see every single click necessary to set up the game. Let's go ahead and start with what to do immediately after the Steam installation completes. Alright, so Steam has just finished installing Fallout 3, and I'm really excited to get playing, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Just gonna hit play. Oh no, where's the game? Steam says it's no longer running. Yeah, that's a problem. If you are playing on any modern Windows 10 computer, you're probably going to run into the exact same issue. But luckily there is a way to fix it, so let's go ahead and find out what that is. If you go into your Fallout 3 folder, it'll probably be under your program files, x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, Fallout 3. That's the default location. I have mine in a different place, but the default location is on your C drive under program files, x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, Fallout 3. Or you can go into Steam, right click, properties, right click on Fallout 3 properties, local files, browse local files. But I already have it open. So in here, you'll find this FALLOUT.ini. This is the executable file for the game. So if I click it, it should just launch the game without showing me that little menu beforehand. So let's do that. Oh, it gave me this error. FALLOUT3.exe, ordinal not found. The ordinal 43 cannot be located in the dynamic link library. It's looking for xlive.dll. Okay, well, or xlive.dll. This DLL refers to Games for Windows Live, which is no longer used on Windows 10, which is why you're probably running into this issue if you have a modern computer. But luckily we have a fix for that. In the description to the video, I have added this link, dllfiles.com/xlive.dll.html. So this is the website where you can find this DLL file that you need. It'll take you right to this front page. If you scroll down, this very top item, SDK debug live DLL, this is the one you want. So to the right here, I'm going to click download, and then I'm just going to wait. New window opens, that's normal. And I'm going to wait for it to finish. And there it is, it just I downloaded it earlier, but there's the new one that I just downloaded right there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my downloads folder, and there's the archive. If you have WinRAR or 7-zip, you need one of the two, by the way. I highly recommend WinRAR, I personally love it, but 7-zip also works too. I'm going to right click on the archive, and I'm going to hit extract here. And then these files are going to pop in. I'm going to delete the archive because we don't need it anymore. And I recommend that you read the README. It has good, useful information, but I've already read it, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And now I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit cut because I need this DLL to move. So I'll just cut it from its location. I'm going to go back to my Fallout 3 install, which again, program files x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, Fallout 3. That's most likely where you'll find it. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. So now I've got my new DLL file down here. And so if we double click this exe, it will run again. The game will run. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and change some of the settings. So I'm going to right click on Fallout3.exe and I'm going to go to properties. And then I'm going to go to the tab that says compatibility. And here is where we're going to change some stuff. I want to check this box that says run this program in compatibility mode 4, and I'm going to set it to run for Windows 7. I recommend that because the game tends to run better on Windows 7. It tends to be more stable, less crashing, all that good stuff. So I highly recommend you do it. And then I also recommend that you check this box that says run this program as an administrator. It's probably a bit of overkill, but Fallout 3 is safe to run as an administrator, and I'm going to go ahead and do it just so that it has all the resources that it could possibly need access to. And so once you have those settings changed, you hit apply and then OK. And now that we have those settings fixed, I'm going to go back to Steam and I'm going to play. The same menu is going to pop up, and I need to change some options in this menu. So that is my graphics card. I want to leave that there. That's my aspect ratio. That's my resolution. And those anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering settings are fine for me. Be sure these are changed to reflect your setup, whatever your computer happens to be. But I also want to check windowed mode and vertical sync on. I recommend using both of these. The reason for windowed mode is that the game is more stable, especially if you Alt-Tab out to different things while you're playing, and you go Alt-Tab, check Discord, check your email, whatever else. Or if you're a streamer, you're going to want to have windowed mode on. You're also going to want to have vertical sync on as well. Since Fallout 3 is older, it probably your computer will be able to refresh the frames at a much faster pace than the game demands. And so vertical sync just ensures that you don't have any screen tearing. Do note, however, that vertical sync on does limit your frame rate to a lower value than just basically infinite frame rate. But I think I would rather have a limited frame rate and not have screen tearing. So if you don't like screen tearing, I would turn vertical sync on. And then this did change my resolution, so I'm just going to change it back to 1920 by 1080. And there we go. So this is all set up, and I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and the game should run. And then this UAC, do you want to allow Fallout 3 to run? I want to hit yes. That's because I set it to run as an administrator. So once I hit yes, the game pops up, which is exactly what we want. And it looks like all is well. I can play the game, and it is. Everything's fine. You can play the game. It's still not quite as stable as it can be. And more importantly, this annoying border is at the top of the screen, and it doesn't the window doesn't match within the screen like we want it to. But there are some mods out there that can let us fix that. We can have borderless windowed gaming, basically. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. But just to show you that the game is working, here's the main menu. I can go ahead and click new and start new game, but I don't want to do that. I want to go ahead and fix this bordered issue so that the game looks good when I play it. So I'm actually going to quit. But there you have it. That is how to get the game running. Now let's move on to installing some mods to help improve the stability and fix that bordered issue that I talked about. Okay, so the first item we're going to install to help improve stability in Fallout 3 is called the Fallout script extender. So if you go down in the description of the video, there will be a link to the Fallout script extender, and it will take you to this website right here, fose.silverlock.org. Very great website, and these people that make the script extender are absolutely wonderful people, and we owe a lot to them. And so I want to take a second just to thank them so much for all that they do for the community. So anyway, to install this, the first top link right here, the download link, you're going to just go ahead and click that, and it's going to download the archive like it just did. So now in my downloads folder, I have this archive, and I'm going to just right click and extract here just like I did before. And everything's going to pop in here, and it's going to give me this new folder. I'm going to delete the archive because I don't need it anymore. Inside this folder is a lot of stuff, and instead of telling you specifically which files that you want to go through and grab and pick out and which ones we need and don't need, I'm actually just going to select them all, and then I'm going to right click and cut, and then I'm going to go to my Fallout 3 folder. Again, this is usually in Program Files, x86, Steam, steamapps, Common, Fallout 3. Mine's in a different location, but yours is probably in that first one like I mentioned. And now that I'm here, just like before, I'm going to right click, paste, and all those files are going to jump over, and that's pretty much it. But to make sure that it does in fact load the script extender, I'm actually going to double click this FOSC loader.exe, and you need to do the same. This will ensure that the FOSC loader does run properly. So I'm going to double click it, and it should hopefully open up the game. This is a long requires UAC, blah. Let's fix it, right click. Oh, right. So because we set the game to run as an administrator, we also want to set that exe to do the same. So we're going to right click on the FOSC loader.exe, go to compatibility, run this program as an administrator, hit apply, and then OK. And then now we double click it. It's going to ask, and we say yes. And there's the game. Just like we anticipated, which is good. It's exactly what you want to have happen. All right, so again, you could totally play the game, but we still need to fix this issue. So I'm going to quit out of here. And now we're going to talk about another mod that we need in order to, yes, it worked correctly. It might ask you that. It usually does the first time you run something in compatibility mode. It's okay to hit yes. It just means that you don't need to change any more settings, which obviously since it worked, we don't need to change anything. But now we do need another mod to help us install. Well, we need, it's kind of funny, we need a mod to help us install more mods, and that mod is called Archive Invalidation Invalidated. I know, really confusing name, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we're going to go ahead and grab that mod, and I'm going to show you how right now. Okay, so now that we have the Fallout script extender installed, we can now install Archive Invalidation Invalidated. And to do that, once again, you'll find a handy link in the description of the video, and it will take you right to this Nexus Mods website page. If you don't have a Nexus Mods account, go ahead and make one. You're going to want one for any mods that you install, and you definitely need one if you want to have a stable Fallout 3. So go ahead and make an account. It's free, no gimmicks or anything like that, and you can use this website to download amazing free mods for the game. Most importantly, you can use it to download stuff that will ensure that the game is stable for your platform, for your PC. In fact, this mod, Archive Invalidation Invalidated, is one of those tools that we need to help us install other mods to run the game. In fact, it's such a great mod that I've actually already endorsed it because I know it's an amazing piece of work. But basically what this mod does is a lot of technical things, but the main thing, and I'm dumbing it down for those of you who are mod authors out there, the main thing that it does is it allows you to play with modded files of the game. Normally, by default, the game only wants to play with files that came from Bethesda, but this mod allows you to essentially activate other files that came from different mods, not from Bethesda. So in order to do that, once you get to this website, you're going to click this tab right here called Files. And there's going to be two options. There's going to be the manual version and the program version, the recommended version. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to download the recommended version. And if you have Nexus Mod Manager installed, which I do, you might see this button, Mod Manager Download, or if you had Vortex installed, you might see this button as well. But actually for this mod, what you want to do is the manual download. So I'm going to go ahead and click manual download under the recommended option. And I'm going to hit the slow download because I don't have a premium account. And then once it's done, it'll pop up in your downloads folder. So just like normal, back to the downloads folder, same thing, right click, extract here. Okay, so that was pretty easy to do. Now it's got two things here, exe, which is the exact program that you want to run, and then the README. And again, I've read the README. I recommend that you read it, but basically the README is going to tell you to follow the instructions in this program, and it will give you some warnings as well. But I've read through them, and there's nothing that I think that is really needed to be mentioning right now. But if you want to make sure, then I definitely recommend you read this. Otherwise, you can just follow along. So we're going to double click on the exe. It's going to ask us if we want to run it. We want to say yes. So we're going to go ahead and say, okay, let's activate. All right, it's validated it, so that's good. We're going to hit OK, and now we're going to exit. And that's pretty much all it does. Very easy, but the actual deliverable is something that we really, really want. And to show you that it works, we can go to Fallout 3, and it actually got rid of a file, which unfortunately I just realized I can't show you, but it got rid of a file. It changed, where is it? Yeah, it got rid of a file, which was important, but it also changed some files as well. So now that the archives are indeed invalidated, we're actually, it's a little underwhelming because it kind of looks like it did nothing, but I assure you, there it is right there. It added this, archive invalidation invalidated.bsa. That is the file that it gave us. So that's how you can confirm that the program worked, is if you see this file under your Fallout 3 data folder, you can find this, and that's how you know that it is in fact working. So now that that's done, I'm going to go back to my downloads folder, and I'm just going to delete all this because I don't need it. It's already done. It's been installed, so we're good to go. And once it's done, that means we can move on to installing an actual mod to help improve stability. And this is essentially the Fallout 3 version of the 4 GB enabler, which I mentioned in my Fallout New Vegas video, but we'll get to that here in just a second. But basically, the mod that we're about to install is definitely one that you want if you want your game to be stable and not crash and be compatible with modern hardware. So let's get to that right now. Okay, so here we are back in the Fallout 3 installation folder. Again, program files x86, Steam, steamapps, common, Fallout 3. Mine is in a different spot. Yours is probably in the spot that I just said, if I had to guess. We're going to do a little bit of file manipulation in here real quick before we install the 4 GB enabler. So the first thing we want to do is make a new folder. And we're going to call it Originals. You can call it whatever you want. I recommend Originals, but you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it Originals. And then we need to place two files in here. We need to place the original. We're going to copy. So I'm going to FALLOUT.3.exe. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy. Again, make sure it's the FALLOUT3.exe. So I'm going to copy it. open up my originals folder and paste it. So now I have a copy of that in here. I'm going to go back. And then now I also need a copy of the Fallout default INI, and that is found down towards the bottom. Here we go. Fallout_default.ini, this file. We're going to make a copy of this. So I'm going to right click, copy. Again, back to the originals folder, right click, paste. Okay, so now I've got my copies of the Fallout 3 exe and the Fallout_default.ini. I got those 2 copies in this folder. And that's what we need to do first. Next, now we can actually go download the mod. So once again, link is in the description of the video, the 4 GB enabler, another great mod for Fallout 3. Again, I've already endorsed it. Fantastic, fantastic mod. So we're going to go again to the Files tab. And what this mod does is again, I'm going to dumb it down a little bit. I'm going to simplify it, but it does a lot of very technical things. But one of the things is that it simply allows Fallout 3 to make better use of your machine's modern hardware, which allows for a lot of things, one of which is improved load times, improved FPS, improved reduced crashing, all sorts of things. This is the main mod that is going to allow us to have a stable game. So there's a couple of files here, but we only really care about 2 of them. The first 2 here. This top version, if you are using WinRAR like I am to extract files, then you're going to download this top version. If you're using anything else, go ahead and download this bottom version. But if you're using WinRAR, you're going to grab this top version, not the bottom version, the second version. I'm sorry. And again, slow download because I don't have a premium account. And it's downloaded. So once again, back to the downloads folder, right click, extract here. We've got a couple of files. So the ones that we first need to worry about, the very first file that we're going to worry about is the Fallout.ini, this one right here. I'm going to right click on Fallout.ini. I'm going to right click, I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to go to my Fallout 3 folder under Documents, MyGames, Fallout 3. Yours will be in the same spot if you've run the game before, which if you've been following along, we've run the game a few times now, so you should see this folder. Documents, MyGames, Fallout 3. So again, if you don't see this file, then it's because you haven't run the game. So be sure you run the game at least once like I did just to get to the main menu and then quit and you'll see this file. But anyway, Documents, MyGames, Fallout 3. I'm actually gonna rename this to Fallout, the first one that I see there, -original. And now I'm gonna paste, I hit Control V, but I hit paste the new one. So this is the new Fallout.ini, that's the original, and I just renamed it as such. But this is the new one. This is the one the game is gonna use. So that's the first thing that we need to do. And then the rest of those files, so back to the downloads folder, the rest of these can actually all go, so I'm gonna hit cut, and go back to my Fallout 3 install folder. The rest of these files can actually all go in here. So I'm going to hit right click, paste, and then it's going to want to replace that, and we're going to hit yes, replace the file. We want it to do that. We want it to replace the file. Okay, and now that we have those files installed, we're going to click to run this 4 GB patch. We're going to double click it. It's going to ask, we're going to say yes. And it's going to ask us to point to the executable that we want to run the patch for. Now, you might be tempted to press Fallout3.exe, but in reality, what you want to do is point it to FOSE_loader.exe. We're going to point it to that. Now that we have Fallout Script Extender installed, you're going to point it to FOSE_loader.exe, and you're going to hit open. It's going to say executable successfully patched, and you're going to hit OK. And that's pretty much all you need to do. To be more thorough though, just a little bit more thorough, we're going to do it again. I'm going to double click the 4 GB patch, and it's going to ask me again for a file. This time though, I'm going to point it to the Fallout3.exe. And it's going to say successfully patched, and I'm going to hit OK. So now that we have those file patched, we want to open up the launcher, but we can't do it from this exe. We can't do it from here. So instead, we're going to go back to Steam. We're going to hit play on Fallout 3. That's going to open up this launcher menu. We're going to go to options. Just make sure all these are still set right. So yes, this is all set. I'm actually going to turn off VSync because one of the things that the 4 GB enabler does is it actually fixes how the game handles your frame rate. So turning off vertical sync is fine. So I'm going to uncheck that box, hit OK, and then hit exit. And now the game has the 4 GB enabler installed, and that's all there is to it. The very next thing we're going to do is make sure that we have a mod manager for installing a few more mods. The next mod we're going to install, well, first we're going to install a program that allows us to install mods for Fallout 3, which is different from Nexus Mod Manager. There's a different program that we have to use. And we're also going to install a mod that will fix that bordered issue when you run the game. So we're almost to the finish line now. Just hang out with me a little bit longer and we'll make sure we've got a good game going here in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and show you how to install Fallout Mod Manager. Okay, now that we have the executables patched with the 4GB enabler, the next thing we need to do is install the Fallout Mod Manager. And you may ask, why the Fallout Mod Manager? Why not Nexus Mod Manager or another mod manager, one that I already have? Why do I need this new one? Well, the reason is because Fallout Mod Manager used a unique system that mod authors could use to automate a lot of their mod installations, and this system wasn't used by Nexus Mod Manager or any others. They had a different system, but a lot of the mods for Fallout 3 were designed to use Fallout Mod Manager to install the files. So Fallout Mod Manager is basically, you just have to think about it as Fallout Mod Manager is just what you need to install mods for Fallout 3. Kind of the end of the story there. And that's unfortunately the reality of the situation. I do wish we could use more, but truth of the matter is, if you don't want to deal with manually messing around with files, Fallout Mod Manager is going to be the easiest way to go, and it's the way I recommend it. And if you're going to do manual mod installations for Fallout 3, then you're probably advanced enough and you don't really need the rest of this video, or at least this particular part of the video. You may be interested in some of the mods that I'm covering later, but if you don't want to install Fallout Mod Manager, which I really recommend you install Fallout Manager, but if you want to skip this part, there are timestamps in the description to go to the next section of the video. Anyway, so in the link, in the description of the video, there's a link to Fallout Mod Manager. It's actually, fortunately, very easy to use. When you first load into the page, you're going to be on the description tab, but much like all of the other mod pages we've been to, you want to hit on the tab that says Files. So you're going to click on Files, and just the link right here, Fallout Mod Manager. It's going to download another archive like usual, and we're going to go to our Downloads folder once again. We're going to right-click, Extract here. And then once the files are done, it leaves you with an executable. Once again, I'm going to delete the archive because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to double click the exe. And fortunately, we can just follow the instructions. It's pretty easy. A lot like programs you've installed before. Accept the general license agreement, no big deal. Now it's going to default to a location. If you want to use the default location, perfectly fine. Highly recommend that you do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I personally would prefer to use a custom location, so I'm going to click Browse, and I'm going to pick a different place. It's nothing major. I just want to install it in a different location. You can install it wherever you want, but I'm going to put it in its own folder. No big deal. And then hit Next. And now it's going to create a shortcut. So I'm going to say don't create a start menu folder because I don't want to use a shortcut. So I'll create my own shortcuts later, but if you want to create a shortcut, just leave this box unchecked, but I don't want to, so I'm going to check it and hit Next. And it's going to ask you some more questions. I don't want to create a desktop icon. I don't want to create a quick launch icon. These file types, though, I do want to leave associated with it. I don't want to create additional start menu shortcuts, though. So I want to leave these top 3 checked, and I'm going to uncheck these 2 and uncheck this one, but the rest I'm going to leave. And then that's the last thing you got to do, and you just hit install. Let it finish and you're done. So click finish and it's going to open up. Select the game you would like to manage, Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. It does work for Fallout New Vegas, but so does Nexus Mod Manager, so I don't use it for Fallout New Vegas. I only use Fallout Mod Manager for Fallout 3. So I'm going to say don't ask me next time, and I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to say, okay, where would you like to store your Fallout 3 mods? And it's going to look for directories. And it's found the directory for Fallout 3 and found the install info for Fallout 3. So that's actually perfectly fine. So I'm going to hit finish because it already found my thing. And it will find yours too if you have it installed through Steam, certainly. So I'm going to hit finish. And it doesn't exist yet, but yes, I want to create it. And yes, I want to create the other info directories. So those haven't been changed in a while. And then it needs to upgrade, so we're going to hit OK. Oh, and it's done. So this is the mod manager, and it's already found that we have FOSE, so you can do that from here. And then these are your ESMs. You can check those to load all the DLCs that you might have in Fallout 3, and that's how you would play the game. If I hit launch FOSE, it'll run the game. And there we go. So yep, Fallout Mod Manager is now installed, and you can use it to install any mod you want, which obviously I'm going to show you how to do here in this next mod after I quit out of this. So the next mod that we're going to install is a mod called OneTweak, and OneTweak is the mod that is going to fix that bordered issue that you just saw when we run the game. So OneTweak is going to fix that, and let's go ahead and jump right into installing it. Okay, so the next mod, OneTweak, is the mod that's going to fix a couple of things. One is it's going to enable Alt-Tab functionality for Fallout 3. It's going to get rid of that weird border that we see when we run the game in windowed mode, and it's going to fix an issue where you sometimes see a double cursor. It's just going to generally make your experience in windowed mode a lot better. And the reason that you want windowed mode for Fallout 3 is, again, so that you can Alt-Tab to do different things. This works very well if you're a streamer or content creator, or if you want to be able to, look up something and then go back to the game really quickly, or answer a Discord message and then jump back to the game. And additionally, it just helps the game crash less frequently and run a little bit more smoothly. So we highly recommend that you run the game in windowed mode. Now, I apologize if I sound like a broken record talking about, why it is that we want all of these different files, but I want to make sure that you guys are understanding why we're installing the programs and files we are installing, and I don't want you to just blindly accept these things and blindly install stuff and not trust me and just say, oh, this is just the way it needs to be done. I want you to understand why these things are necessary and why we're doing it this way, so that you can be confident that you'll have a stable version of the game. And I apologize, I know it kind of takes some time, but I just want you guys to be knowledgeable about what it is that you're actually putting into your game and what you can expect to get out of it. But anyways, OneTweak. So again, link in the description of the video. You're looking for OneTweak. Again, you'll come to Nexus Mods, be on this front page, make an account if you don't already have one. Same old, same old. Go to the Files tab, and we're going to hit Manual Download. Same reason as before, we want to use the new Fallout Mod Manager to install it, so we're just going to manual download. It's going to tell you, hey, this requires FOSE, but if you've been following along, then you already have it. Again, I'm going to hit slow download because I don't have a premium account, and it's going to download and install, no big deal. Here's the difference. Normally, we would go to the Downloads folder and extract like we've done before. This time, we're going to open up Fallout Mod Manager, which I already have, and once you have Fallout Mod Manager open, you're going to see this button right here, Package Manager. Once you click on that, it may ask you some questions. Just hit yes. Just hit yes to all those questions that it asks you. That's totally fine. You know what? Yeah, just hit yes to all those questions. It may ask you to log in. No big deal. Just hit yes to get through those questions. They're not terribly important. Anyway, now that you have the Package Manager window open, you want to click Add FOMod. And then you want to click on your Downloads folder. In your Downloads folder, you'll see the archive that you just downloaded, OneTweak. Go ahead and click on it, hit open, and it's going to ask if you want to make a copy of the original file. I'm going to hit no. I don't particularly care, so I'm going to hit no. And then there it is, OneTweak. So let's go ahead and click it. Check it in the checkbox, just like that, or click it so that it's highlighted. And we want to go ahead and activate it. So the mod was successfully installed. That's good, it means it's done. So now that it's installed, we can close the package manager. And there you go. You see that our game has been updated and it's been installed now. So since it is a FOSE plugin, it doesn't actually have an ESP, so it won't show up in this list. But like the manager said, it is successfully installed, so you can be confident that it is running. And to prove that the game is actually running, you can hit Launch FOSE. Again, hit yes. And now, look at that. The border's gone away. We're in a full screen game, no problem. It's all working really well. So that's OneTweak, and that's what it does for you. It gets rid of that funky border. Now, you might be tempted to say, okay, well, my game looks good, I've got a bunch of mods installed, and I'm ready to play, and I'm good to go. And as tempting as that is, believe me, I'm with you, there's actually two more things that we need to do to just really make sure that your experience with Fallout 3 is the best it possibly can be in the modern day. So now we're going to install what's called the Unofficial Fallout 3 Patch, and I'll explain why here in just a second. Okay, so the Unofficial Fallout 3 Patch, what is it? Why should you care? Well, the Unofficial Fallout 3 Patch is a community-made patch for Fallout 3 that essentially fixes many bugs that are found purely in the vanilla game. The Unofficial Fallout 3 patch doesn't touch any other mods. It's solely for fixing problems that Bethesda left in the game. If you've played any Bethesda game before, you'll be very well aware that they are filled with bugs. Even, you know, on console, you would run into bugs. On Fallout 3, you'd get stuck in corners, you'd fall through the world, all sorts of things would happen. So the unofficial Fallout 3 patch is designed to fix as many of those as it possibly can. In fact, the list of bugs that it does fix is so incredibly long that I'm not even going to bother to try to read it to you or to try to say that you should read it. You shouldn't read it. It is, if you want to be impressed by the work that these people did, you should take a look at it, and it is impressive. It's an incredibly long list of bugs that they fixed. So if you want to be impressed with that, take a look. It's a ton of bugs, but trust me, you want this mod. There's no reason not to play with this mod. Even if you're a vanilla Fallout 3 purist, this is as vanilla. This is pretty much what Bethesda intended for the game to be. It's Fallout 3 minus all the bugs and glitches that they didn't intend to be in the game, but that happened anyway. So I would highly recommend installing this mod. It honestly, there's no reason not to play with it. So anyway, the link is in the description of the video. It's going to take you to this page. You're going to hit the tab that says Files, and once again, we're going to hit the manual download. And I'm going to hit slow download again, not a premium account, so slow download. It's going to take a minute. It's a big file, a lot of fixes, a lot of stuff was changed. I say a lot of stuff was changed, but it was good changes. It was changes that Bethesda should have made themselves. They are things, they're bugs from the vanilla game. Nothing about the vanilla game, the gameplay, the experience, the quest, nothing of that has changed. They've just corrected bugs. So I assure you, this is a mod that enables you to have a pleasant vanilla Fallout 3 experience. I highly recommend it. If you only installed one mod for Fallout 3, I would recommend that it be this one, in all honesty. Anyway, so now that it's installed, it wants you to use the installer version. So under downloads here, you see the exe that it delivered you. So we're going to double click. We're going to hit yes on the installer. This will install the unofficial patch for Fallout 3. It's recommended that you close Fallout 3 and any programs related to it before continuing. So we're going to hit next because I don't have Fallout 3 running. And yes, I accept the agreement. And a lot of information about it, basically just letting you know that you know, a lot of stuff that we already know. But we're going to go ahead and hit next, and it should find your Fallout 3 install folder automatically, which it did for me. So if it found mine, I'm sure it'll find yours as well. So just hit next. It's going to ask you if you want to install the different components, and I highly recommend doing the full installation. What this means is that it will give you all sorts of fixes. It will fix the DLC for you. It will fix a problem with your mouse accelerating on the menu and all sorts of stuff like that. It'll also even fix the creation kit if you use the creation kit for Fallout 3. So I'm going to hit next again, leaving it at the full installation. And then it's going to ask if you want to create a start menu folder. I particularly, you know, I don't mind. I'll let it do it, but it doesn't really matter. But I'll leave it there. Just hit next, and then I'll hit install. It's going to do all of its fixing, a ton of stuff, fixing all sorts of things. And I would go through and explain what these fixes are and why they're bugs and why they should be fixed. But to be honest with you, you can read the README, the patch list, but it's so many things that you're going to want it. As soon as you look at it, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't realize there even were this many bugs. I can't believe that I wanted this mod. But it fixes all sorts of stuff. So I highly recommend it. Setup has finished installing the patch on your computer. It may be launched by selecting the installed icons. So yeah. So you can check these if you want to go see that other stuff, but I'm good. I don't need to see anything. It's done. So I'm going to hit finish. And I've already endorsed the mod. So be sure you endorse mods that you enjoy. This one definitely deserves the endorsement. I highly recommend it. And so with that being said, we only have one more thing left to do before Fallout 3 is done and ready to be played, and you're going to be all set for a new playthrough. So bear with me. We got one more thing left to do. Okay, so at this point, I'm sure you're wondering, what more could you possibly need to do to Fallout 3 to get it to run properly on your computer. Well, there's one last thing. It's mostly a quality of life improvement, just to make it a little bit easier to actually run the game. Currently, the proper way to start the game is to come into your Fallout 3 folder and click on this FALLOUT-Loader.exe, and that's how you would run the game, or to launch it through Fallout Mod Manager. But both of those ways are a little bit cumbersome. You have to dig through some files, or you have to open up a separate program or something like that, and that's a little bit unnecessary. We don't want to have to do that. So instead, what we can do is we can take the Fallout launcher right here. Oh, this will allow us, by the way, to open the game directly from Steam. It will allow Steam to use this FOSE loader to launch the game, which will make it a lot easier. You can just launch the game directly from Steam and instead of having to come dig through files and all that. Anyway, so this FalloutLauncher.exe, what we want to do is we want to right click and hit cut. And then we want to go into our originals folder that we created earlier, and we're going to paste it. I'm going to use Control V, but we're just going to paste it in there. And then now we go back to our Fallout 3 folder, and the FOSE_loader.exe, we want to rename that to Fallout Launcher. And now that it's renamed, you want to right click Properties, Compatibility. You want to make sure that it is still ready to run as an administrator. And once that's done, you hit OK. So that's pretty much all there is to it. And just to verify, we're going to go back to Steam. And now, instead of when we hit play for Fallout 3, instead of getting a separate menu, we're going to get the game after we hit yes. And there we go. Now we're ready to play the game. And we are actually ready this time. The window is gone. The bordered window is gone. We're in windowed mode, so we can Alt-Tab really easily and all that stuff. And now we can hit a new game and start a new playthrough. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And I say that's all there is to it. I know that was probably a little bit longer than you were bargaining for, but I really, really hope that was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope it was beneficial to you. If not, let me know what I did wrong. Let me know what could be of more use to you down in the comments. Please tell me. I want to be of help where I can. And if there's any problems you're having, go ahead and comment, and I will try to help you out as best I can. Let me know what errors you're running into, things like that, and I'll do my best to help you. I really hope you guys found this useful. There's going to be another episode that covers more mods for Fallout 3 that may help make it a more immersive experience, but they take the game beyond vanilla. The mods that I showed you today were designed to just give you a functioning vanilla experience. The next set of mods in the next episode are going to go beyond the vanilla experience. They're going to be a modded install, a modded Fallout 3 with a little bit different graphics and a little bit different gameplay and stuff like that. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know. Give me your feedback in the comment section below. If I can help, please tell me. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. I really appreciate it. And if you're so inclined, please drop a like and a subscription if you haven't already. I really appreciate the feedback, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.